Hello and welcome to Old Ways Gardening and Prepping. My name is Teresa. I would like to welcome you each into our kitchen this afternoon where, yes, we're going to be canning up some collard greens, y'all. Now, I am part of a wonderful canning collaboration which is called March Canning Madness 25. So many other channels are part of this collaboration, and I will put the link in the description box below the video so you can go watch all the other canning videos. I was lucky. I have 6 pounds of chopped collards grown in Georgia to cook and can up. Now, this is a little bit of a process. It's not hard to do, and the final result is absolutely worth it. Now, with all this being said, I am a feral canner. The alphabet organizations do not have any sway over me. I have been canning close to 40 years. I think I know what I'm doing. Now, I will tell you, collard greens have to be pressure canned because of low acidity, but I follow my own directions. I go by some of the basic rules. So if you're one of those OCD, have to follow by a blue book, yeah, this ain't going to be the video for you. But with that being said, I know my greens are good, and that's why I can them up, and I season them the way I want them, and yeah, it's so good, y'all. And it's easy, just takes some time. So let's get busy doing the first steps. Now, I have already very well washed my greens, and they're chopped up, and they're ready to go. So they're waiting on me. So let's get busy, y'all. Okay, first, yes, I'm going to cut my onions up before I do the meat. The meat will go into the pan first. Now, I have a big stock pot because when I can greens, I can big batches. So, in my stock pot here in the bottom, I have some rendered bacon. Okay, I had to hurry and pause that because the weather radio come in. We got bad storms rolling in tonight, so in the bottom of my pot, my stock pot here, I have some rendered bacon fat. Probably 2 big tablespoons of it. I don't need a whole lot, but I want to make sure that there's some in the pot before the meat goes in. Now, save your onion bottoms and your skins for when, put them in a Ziploc baggie, toss them in your freezer. So next time you go to make any kind of bone stock, you can add them to the pot. And yes, I like onions in my greens. Life's too short to be eating plain greens. Plan on leaving this world fully seasoned. Like I said, I'm making a big pot of greens. So, this is the first large onion. I have 2 more, and I'll bring you back as soon as I get those chopped up. Okay, the onions are cut up. I try to do about a medium chop on them. I cut them up first because once I start cutting the meat, my blade will be greasy, and you're more likely to have the knife slide on you or slide around. Now here I have all right at 1.5 pounds of hog jowls. If I can get them open. There we go. And I'm also going to be doing some bacon as well, because I like meat in my greens. Now, if you don't want any pork in your greens, you could do turkey ham, ham cubes, whatever you want. Hold on. Or you could leave the meat out. I tend to like the meat in mine, and I try to get them in small enough pieces to where there is meat in each of the jars. I love good old hog jowls, especially when they're smoked. I'm not too sure these are smoked. They don't look very smoked. They might be, but they're cheating people on smoking meat anymore. But I got a fix for that. Like I said, I'm just going to cut these up in smaller pieces, little chunks. And of course, I'm going to be sauteing them in the bottom of, or in the stock pot, so they get some brown and some flavor started. Alright, I'm going to keep small cutting my hog jowls. I'll bring y'all right back when I'm finished. Okay, I got that large diced, and I'm just going to put it down in the bottom of the stock pot. Oops, let's not do that. Okay, and like I said, I'm going to saute that until it gets color on it. So, and we got some good old thick slab bacon here. Because like I said, I want some flavor up in these greens. Let's see, this is 2.5 pounds. I'm going to use about a quarter of the package, but I'm going to cut it into small pieces. Now don't worry, you can break them up while you're sauteing them in the pot. Best of both worlds, hog jowl and bacon. Now, if I was cooking my greens for myself, I would put smoked ham hocks in there. I don't put any smoked ham hocks in the greens when I go to can them, because they're not going to cook long enough to actually benefit the use or make it worthwhile to break out the ham hocks. So they get to stay in the freezer for now. Okay, I got to get that bacon wrapped up and get it back in the fridge wash my hands first, get the bacon put up, rewash my hands, and get the big spoon down, and I'll meet y'all back at the stove. See you here in a bit. Okay, I've got it heating up. You can hear the sizzle. So I'm going to saute these until they've got color, a nice brown on them. And I'll bring you back when they're almost ready. So see you here in a little bit. Alright, they're starting to get a little bit of color. I'm going to put the onions in. And any that jump ship. And since it's 6 pounds of collards, I'm going to do 3 heaping tablespoons of garlic. Minced garlic. And let them saute until almost translucent. And you're building flavor is what we're doing now. Okay, those are done. Now, usually what I use is chicken stock or chicken broth. I have it, but I just recently done a video on making beef bone stock from scratch. That video will come out on the 22nd, and I have a half a gallon and a quart jar of that. So I'm going to be adding that instead. Because waste not, want not. And definitely going to use more. I'm going to add some more water to it. Like I said, we're in the building flavor stage. And another thing, you want to make sure that nothing sticks on the bottom of your pan. Because you don't want nothing to burn. Because that will go in to the flavor of your greens, and you don't want to ruin a whole batch of greens. And yes, I added the good fat from the bone stock. Oh, that smells good. Stir that bottom real good. I'm going to get another half a gallon of water. I'll be right back. Okay, we're building the bases. I put another half a gallon, so that's a gallon and a quart of liquid, a half a gallon of water, half a gallon of homemade beef bone stock, and a quart of homemade beef bone stock. Now this, what you're doing now, is building the flavor for what we affectionately in the South call pot liquor, the liquid of the pot. Okay, since I know my bacon and hog jowls was not smoked enough for me, I'm adding liquid smoke. I'm going to add 3 tablespoons. I'm going to taste later on to see if it needs more. Now, yes, I like oregano in my greens. So I'm going to do 3 tablespoons of oregano. Like I said, don't eat no plain greens, y'all. Now, I'm going to add more black pepper to the jars. So I'm just going to put a tablespoon in there. And like I said, what you're doing right now is building flavor. You're going to season this pot liquor, and it's going to season those greens. Now, next one is all spices are optional. It's up to you, or you can add what you like. I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of red pepper flakes. It's not going to be really enough to make it real hot, but it'll have a little bit of a zing. Oh, look at that. Ain't that beautiful? Oh, yeah. That's flavor, folks. That's flavor. Now, I do not add any sugar to my greens. I cannot stand sugar in my greens. If you want to add sugar, you can. That is all up to you. I think some people add it to cut back the bite of the greens. Oh no, I eat greens to enjoy greens. And that's a 1/2 cup of apple cider vinegar. I don't put a whole lot of vinegar in my greens because I save the vinegar because I usually eat my greens with pepper sauce, pepper vinegar on them. So, that or hot sauce, it depends on my mood. Keep stirring that pot occasionally, make sure nothing's sticking on that bottom. And when this comes up to a slight simmer, I'll bring y'all back. Okay, the pot liquor is getting really hot, so I'm going to start adding my greens. Trying not to waste any. I have another 1/2 gallon of water in case I need it, because you want pot liquor also to go in your jars. There's 1 bowl. Now, according to the alphabet people, they want you to blanch your greens and then put them in the jar. Well, when you blanch them, guess what? You're losing most of the nutrients of the greens. This way, you get the nutrients and the flavors of the greens. Because I don't see no reason to blanch them or to blanch them and then put them in a jar. No, they ain't got no seasoning, they ain't got no flavor, and pretty much most of their life has been sucked out of them by blanching. And like I said, I like my food to taste good. and to be fully seasoned. Sorry, I whacked y'all with the spoon. And add some and stir. Add some and stir. That way you get that bacon, those hog jowls, and onions and garlic mixed all around. And sorry y'all, whacking y'all with a spoon. I'm gonna go ahead and add another half a gallon of water. That should be enough. I'll have this recipe in the description box below, and you can decide on how big a pot you want to make, or if you want to make a bigger one. And now I'm going to be canning ours in pint jars because Junior just eats a little bit of greens, very little. I'm going to finally convert them. So I'd be eating the rest of the jar. Now if you have a bigger family and folks who love greens, please can them in quart jars. Oh, look at that. Look at that. That's beautiful, y'all. And of course, while they're cooking, the greens are going to release water as well. And just make sure that your greens are washed. Don't use no soap. You're going to be rinsing them. And I do it in a colander so the sand and everything can wash right out. That what I poured in there is green juice, or also as I call it, green essence. Oops. Yeah, that's going to be plenty of water. Now, keep stirring that bottom. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? A few pepper flakes here and there. Some hog jowl, bacon. Oh, and I'm telling you, it's smelling good up in here. Now, at this state, you're not going to get many greens in your jar because they still have some life well, they're going to still have life in them, but you're not going to be able to, they're not going to pack down good or jar up good. Keep an eye on that bottom. Don't let nothing stick, y'all. Oh my gracious. Now, I have not added any salt to the pot because I'm going to add some salt to the jar. Yes, I know the bacon and the hog jowl has salt. It is up to you if you put salt in the jar. Now I'm going to bring these up to a simmer. Look at that. Is that not beautiful? I'm going to bring these up to a simmer. And I'm going to simmer them for 30 minutes. And while they're simmering, I'm going to get my jars and everything ready. Make sure that everything you use is clean and sanitary. And of course, this is going to be a hot pack. So make sure your jars are warm and ready to roll. I'm going to put a lid on these. I'm going to stir them every so often. Oh, those are beautiful. And we're going to get ready to can up some collard greens. Yep. Oh, I know what I need to do. Give me just a minute. Okay, stir it around real good. Alright, I'm going to take a sip of this pot liquor and see if I need to adjust any seasoning. Need some more liquid smoke. You can taste that beef broth, bone stock, I mean. I'm so used to using chicken. That beef bone stock comes in strong, y'all. Okay, that's 2 more tablespoons of liquid smoke. And believe me, smoky greens are good greens. Alright, let me rinse my spoon off. Okay. Make sure you stir it from the bottom up. Oh my God, those are good. Oh yeah. Okay, I'm going to put the lid on these. Let them come up to a light simmer. Stir occasionally. Make sure nothing's sticking on the bottom. And I'm going to let them simmer for 30 minutes. And when I bring you back, we're going to be canning these babies up. I'm going to put the lid on them, and I'm going to let them simmer for 30 minutes once it comes up to a light simmer. Don't boil them, light simmer. And I'll bring you back. Okay, I have everything ready. In each jar, I have a 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper and a 1/2 teaspoon of pink Himalayan salt. You want to make sure you do not use table salt that has iodine in it. It's better to go with either kosher, sea salt, or pink Himalayan salt, or you could use Redmond salt, whichever one you want. Jars are hot. Well, they're very warm. Of course, the greens are hot, and my pressure canner is hot and ready to go. So, with that being said, I'm going to take a little bit of pot liquor first, put it in the jar to dissolve the salt and the black pepper. Well, it won't dissolve the black pepper, but it will the salt. And you want to be very careful putting your greens into the jar. You don't want to burn yourself. You want to make sure you get a good mixture of greens, a little bit of the meat, course, make sure everything is clean and sanitized. And I try to pack as much as I can without overpacking. And we're going to want a 1-inch headspace, which will be right at the bottom here of the rings on your jar. I'm going to put a few more greens in. I'm going to tell y'all, this smells amazing. It smells different because I'm not used to using the beef stock. Just a little bit more. You don't want to go too much. You want to keep that 1-inch headspace. And I'm going to add a little bit more of the pot liquor. And you want to make sure that you debubble. Your bubbles are your enemy, and you want to make sure you get them out. And that's a beautiful jar of greens. Yep, we're at the 1-inch headspace. I don't see any bubbles. Now, you will need some either white vinegar, apple cider vinegar, because you're going to want to wipe the rim because there's bacon in here, hog jowl, and there's a little fat in there. So you clean that rim real good. Now you don't want your rag just sopping wet with vinegar, but you want it enough to clean. And just finger tight. Don't tighten it down too much. Let's go with another jar. Like I said, I always add a little bit in a pot liquor in the bottom to dissolve the salt and the black pepper and move it up as you fill it with greens. But yeah, I can tell the difference in using the beef stock compared to using chicken stock. I can smell the difference. Which is just, the only thing is, it's just going to make the greens rich, the collard greens richer. That's all. Use whatever stock you have. I can get away with just a little bit. But you got to keep an eye on that level, because you've got to keep that 1-inch headspace. And like I said, if you have a big family, you can do quart jars. Yep, I got a little more room. This is why I don't blanch them. I cook them a little bit because these greens aren't completely cooked. but they will be once they're done pressure cook canning. You want to make sure you debubble. Yep. Now each time you wipe the rim of a jar, change positions on your paper towel, your whatever you're using, because if you don't change positions, you're just going to be smearing the grease around or the juices around, and that will cause your jar seal to fail. Okay, I'm going to continue filling these up, and I will bring you back. But look at this before it gets too hot. Look at that beautiful, beautiful jar of collard greens, y'all. Southern collard greens. All right, I'm going to try to get 19 pints, which is a whole canner load for me. And I'll let you know once we're out at the canner how many jars I filled up. See you after a while. I have ended up with 15 pints of collard greens. And in this bowl, I have what's called pot liquor. Now, what the ancestors used to do, and a lot of you southern people still do, when you cook greens, you save the pot liquor to cook beans in. So tomorrow I'll be canning this up, and you will can it like you would broth, which would be, if you do it in quarts, whatever pound pressure your area's at. If you do quarts, it'll be 25 minutes. Pint, uh, 20 minutes. Now, you will need to add salt to the jar because I didn't add salt to this. So that is a preservative. And a half a teaspoon per pint is plenty. And for a quart, you're going to want to do a teaspoon. Don't waste this. Now, if you want to, you can. If you got the room, baggie it, let it cool down completely, baggie it up, and freeze it. And when you go to cook beans, you can add a baggie full of it or a jar, either way. All right, it's time to get these babies into the pressure canner. I'm trying to beat the storms before they get here. Okay, be back here in a bit. All right, out at the canner, I use my propane stove to can with. You'll have to excuse the wind chimes and the wind storms are brewing. Now mine is an all-American canner. I don't have any seals or anything to worry about, but I do need to oil the rim, and that'll keep it from sticking. I have my fire on below the canner, and I'm going to get the rest of the jars here on top. It's easier to oil the rim before you put your last bit of jars on there. You line up the arrow with the notch. Now, of course, follow whatever pressure canner you have directions. You're going to want to get these just barely finger tight. And then you go back, you go opposite sides and tighten them down. Now you want to bring this up to temp, up to ventings slowly, because you don't want it to go up too fast. And I'll bring you back once it starts venting. See you here after a while. Okay, it is venting. You can't really see it because of the wind. There we go. I'm going to let it vent for 10 minutes. And I will bring you back when the 10 minutes is over with. See you here in a little bit. Okay, it has vented for 10 minutes. Now for where I'm at, I need to use 10 pounds of pressure. We're going to put it right on there. And I'm going to wait till it comes up to a steady 11 pounds of pressure. And I'll bring y'all right back. Okay, it is a steady 11 pounds of pressure. And since it's pint, it's going to be 70 minutes. And if you're canning quarts, it's going to be 90 minutes. I'm going to have to keep an eye on my cooker because of the wind picking up. But I'm going to get these greens canned before these storms come rolling in. Alright, I will see you when they have finished canning. Just in the nick of time, the canner is done. I'm going to cut off the flame. I'm going to let it completely go to zero, decompress, and I will bring y'all back. I beat the storms, thank gracious. Now we just gotta stay safe. Wanted to say, don't touch anything, leave the weight alone, let it completely depressurize to zero, and then I'll bring you back. It's gonna be a little while, and yep, don't touch nothing, cut the flame off, and walk away. The canner has completely cooled down. I had to wait for that first wave of storms to roll through because I didn't want to bring the hot jars out of the canner with the cold breeze blowing and the cold rain hitting them. The jars could have cracked. I'm in between storms now, so I'm going to get these babies inside. Okay, I gotta work this. Okay, if you have one that won't open, you can jiggle the lid a little bit, and usually that will work. Ho ho ho. And there I have some canned collard greens. Alright, I'll bring you back once I get them inside. Whew, that was fun, y'all. Second storm's almost here, but I ended up with 14 beautiful pints of collard greens. One jar decided it didn't want to seal. That's okay, it's not the end of the world. Just going to heat it up here in a bit, and I'm going to eat them. Simple, easy, homemade. Look at those beautiful, beautiful collard greens. Yep, that'll be 14 side dishes for 14 meals. Simple, easy, homemade. You know what goes exactly into them. And of course, the recipe will be in the description box below this video. I'm having so much fun getting to finally can and put food back. Y'all continue to stock your pantries with foods that will nourish and sustain you. Medicinals that will heal you. Yes, the greens are medicinals as well. Make your food your medicine. Protection of all kinds, and above all else, the bare essentials to survive on. I am tired. I have tap danced around thunderstorms, but you know what? I got the canning done. Waste not, want not, and where there's a will, there's a way. Everyone, take care, stay safe and sound. I look forward to seeing you in my next video, and may you each be blessed. Hoot, hoot. Mwah. Love y'all. See y'all soon.